Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm doing a September and October reading wrap up, and I decided to combine those 2 months in because September was a very barren month. I only got to read 2 books in that month, and one of the books that I read was like half read and half listened to Audible. So yeah, I have a full-time job. I work 9 to 5, sometimes a little bit more, and September was such a busy month for me. So for work, I am a process engineer, and so for September, I had like this engineering test plan that my colleague and I had to carry out, and I was supporting another one at the same time, and they were like both on the same day. So I had to get like the paperwork material ready for one engineering test plan, and then like actually physically execute the other one with my other colleague. And like the testing days itself, like I was at work for like 15 hours and like 13 hours like on the second day. Like it was crazy. The month of September was a very stressful time for me, so I didn't get that much reading in. So that's the reason why I didn't read that many books. But usually I try to read like 5 books or so. I cannot read 14, 10 or so just because of like life in general and my full-time job. So that's just a little disclaimer and disclosure. So let's dive right in. So the first book that I completed in September was Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. So this book was actually my work, like we have like a chat, like a group, and we pick like a book to read together for like once every couple months or so. And this book was like it a couple months ago. I just never had the chance to like start it, read it or whatever. Like I just didn't have time. But this in the month of September, I decided to pick it up, and oh my goodness, this 5 stars out of 5 star, like 5 stars out of 5 star. I actually don't remember like all the ratings that I put on my Goodreads, so I'm gonna check it. From my memory, I'm telling you that this is a 5 star out of 5 star, and from my Goodreads note, it is a 5 star out of 5 star. So in this book, you have, I guess, Tova Sullivan. She's kind of like our main protagonist in this book, and she does, I'm gonna read a little bit of the excerpt too, just while talking to you guys, so that I don't give out spoilers, because I know what the book is about, but like I don't know what is a spoiler and what is not, just like based from memory, since it was like done, like read like over a month ago. But we have Tola Sullivan, and she does work at the Sowell Bay Aquarium as like a night keeper. She does like the mopping and the cleaning and whatnot. And she's been doing this since her son was 18 years old. Eric, her son is Eric, and he actually passed away when he was 18, unfortunately. He mysteriously vanished off a boat over 30 years ago. And so during this whole entire book journey, we kind of follow Tova and her feelings about that and whatnot. And while Tova works in the aquarium, she befriends this octopus. His name is Marcellus, and he's a giant Pacific octopus living in the aquarium, and he knows more than anyone can imagine. Octopus are very smart, and so he works as a detective. He deduces what happened that night that Tova's son disappeared, and he must use his trick to unearth the truth for Tova before it's too late. And so we follow Tova and we follow Marcellus and how the story kind of unravels about like the whole around like her son's Eric's death. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting characters in this book besides also Tova and Marcellus the octopus. We have her friends and whatnot. So we're introduced to a lot of characters in this book, and we learn a little bit about each of them. And like honestly, this book felt like a mystery, to be honest. Like this is in my opinion, a really nice mystery book, because you follow the book through. It's not really like, ooh, like scary vibe mystery. It's like there's this truth that needs to be uncovered, and you follow Tova and Marcellus throughout the journey. And so you get Tova's point of view, you get Marcellus' point of view, and like, I don't know, I feel like I'm not doing this like enough justice, but it's such a good book, like honestly. And so like here, this is Helen Huang quote of the book, like her opinion. She says, "Truly original and touching, Remarkably Bright Creatures is a story of family, community, and optimism in spite of darkness. Prepare to fall in love with the most exceptional octopus." And I did fall in love with the exceptional octopus. I don't know, like 5 out of 5 stars. If you want, honestly, it's fall/winter. Like if you want a cozy book to read, I really recommend Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. So yeah, this is the first book that I finished late September, actually. So yeah. The next book that I finished in September was Daydream by Hannah Grace. I'm sure many of you guys know this title by now, but this is actually the 3rd book in Hannah Grace series, the Maple Hill series. And so in this story, we follow Henry and Hal and their journey. And so I'm just gonna read the excerpt for you guys so you guys like understand where I'm like talking about, and then I'll talk about my feelings. So when his procrastination lands him in a difficult class with his least favorite professor, Henry Turner knows he's going to have to work extra hard to survive his junior year of college, and now with his new role as captain of the hockey team, Henry absolutely cannot fail. Enter Hal Jacobs, a fellow junior whom Henry befriends when he accidentally crashes her book club. Henry may not have the romantic pursuits of her fictional leads or the experience for the novel she's going to write, but she's an academic superstar, and as soon as she hears about Henry's problem with his class, she offers help. She knows that new experiences are the key to beating her self-doubt, and Henry's promising to be the one to give them to her. They just need to stick to their rule book where 4 items read, don't fall in love. So again, we followed this journey with Hal and Henry, and if you read the other books in the series, you already know Henry, and like Henry's one of my favorite characters, so I was very, very super excited to read this book. This book was going so well for me, like up until towards the end, and then it kind of like not fell off, but it just got like really slow and dragged on, and like I don't know if the ending, like how the ending played out was what I wanted it to be, but overall the book was very, very good. So yeah. So I don't know. I gave this, I think, 4 stars, and in my Goodreads, I did give it 4 stars. So yeah, I think the ending could have been a little bit better. It's not bad or anything. It's good. It's just that I feel like the story was well written, and then the ending was kind of rushed. But that's my opinion. So yeah, I love Henry, and I love the story. So yeah. By the way, PSA, the cover looks very, very innocent, but this book is very, very spicy. So, just to preface. Okay, moving on. The next book that I read was You with a View by Jessica Joyce. So, in this book, we have Noelle and Theo, who were classmates in high school. They went their separate ways, and then one day, so Noelle she's unemployed at the moment, and she's living with her parents, and she's grieving the loss of her grandma. And while I guess her parents were cleaning and whatnot, they gave her a box of items, and then she sees a love letter from her grandma, who was talking to another person who was not her grandpa. And so she thought grandpa and grandma was always like their first love with each other, but it turns out to be not. It turns out grandma had another lover. And so Noelle makes a TikTok and shows a picture and asks, do you know the man in the photo? If so, please reach out. And so the man in the photo just happens to be Theo's grandpa, her basically nemesis grandpa. And so they both go on this road trip together because Noelle's grandma and Theo's grandpa had like a elope honeymoon trip planned out, and so Noelle, Theo, and Theo's grandpa take this road trip, and we follow their journey on discovering the relationship between Noelle's grandma and Theo's grandpa. Because while they're on this road trip, Theo's grandpa gives her like a little bit of story or talk about every single love letter as they go along the way. So yeah, this is a very heartwarming, heartfelt novel. Like if you're looking for a really, really good romance book, I really recommend You with a View by Jessica Joyce. And so I gave this a 5. I remember that I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, and I did on my Goodread. And my friend did remind me, like I told her the plot of the story, and she said this really reminds her of Letters to Juliet. It's a little bit different, but the vibe, honestly, the vibe is there. It's giving me Letters to Juliet vibes. So yeah, I really recommend if you're looking for a good heart romance book. Okay, the next book I've got The next book I read was The Pucking Wrong Guy by C.R. Jane. This is a spicy romance book by C.R. Jane. This is actually the second book in the series. I'm just gonna read you guys the excerpt on the back. It says, Blake moved to LA for a fresh start and to make it big. Now she's waiting tables while her dreams of becoming a model hover just out of reach. She already has her hand full, and then her past walks into the room and changes everything. What's your name, Sunshine? At first, Blake doesn't recognize him, but the gorgeous 6'4" tattooed pro hockey player is Ari Lancaster. Her first ever crush, the one who got her through the worst time in her life. He's all grown up now with an unshakable confidence and ability to turn her inside out with a single kiss, and he has no intention of letting her go again. Blake knows she should resist, but each time Ari's overwhelmingly intensity is focused on her. All her best intentions go out the window. There's no denying they're playing in different leagues, but it's only a matter of time before Blake starts to wonder if the completely wrong guy she's falling for is actually the right one. So this is a dark, steamy hot romance book. So this, I guess a trope is kind of like childhood friends to lovers, sort of, kind of, even though they met when they were very young, and then they went their separate ways, and then they come back together at the end. But yeah, I devoured this book. So after my long, stressful month of September with like work and everything and just work and life, I got very, 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 very sick. I got sick for 2 weeks, and it was just like the longest cold ever. It wasn't COVID, but it was just like a longest cold. So I got sick. I picked up this book and I couldn't put it down. I couldn't put it down. And thankfully for me, I gave this a 5 out of 5 star. Thankfully for me, I also have the first book in the series, which was, I believe, The Pucking Wrong Number. This one right here, The Pucking Wrong Number. Also, C.R. Jane. And so I read The Pucking Wrong Guy. I loved it so much that I had to pick up The Pucking Wrong Number. And you honestly, this is part of the Pucking series by C.R. Jane. You don't have to read them in chronological order. It'll be good if you did, but you don't have to, because I started off with the second book, and then I was like, this is so good. So I had to go and read the first book. And so when I bought these two books, I bought them at the same time. And so thank goodness I just read the excerpt on the back and decided to read the second book first before the first. And so after I read the second book, I was like, okay, Jen, you have to go back and read the first because it's so good. I am a lover for a hockey romance, and this is a dark, steamy hockey romance. So I gobbled it up like Thanksgiving dinner. So yeah, okay. For this one, The Pucking Wrong Number, the back says, give me a chance, babe, and I'll blow your mind. Monroe doesn't know why she answers that text that obviously meant for someone else, or why she keeps answering. Maybe it's because she's all alone in a big city and in desperate need of a lifeline. Or maybe it's because each exchange leaves her intrigued and more than a little turned on. Still, Monroe never would snark back if she'd known she was talking to the golden boy of Dallas Night. She couldn't care less about Lincoln Daniels' hockey god status, and this only seems to attract him more. He's used to scoring off and on and off the ice, and now he's obsessed with his next goal, making Monroe his no matter what it takes. Intense doesn't begin to cover the way Lincoln pursues her, but I'm so sorry. But despite the red flags, Monroe starts to crave the way he makes her feel really, truly wanted. Maybe Mr. Wrong Number is actually Mr. Right. So yeah. Dark hockey romance. Obsessive. If you're into like obsessive main lead, get into the series. Again, 5 out of 5 stars. Honestly, every single book by C.R. Jane, 5 out of 5 star. Okay, so after I read those two, I found out that there's 2 more other books in the series by C.R. Jane, and they are The Pucking Wrong Date and The Pucking Wrong Man. I love myself a good hockey romance. Dark, steamy hockey romance. So, The Pucking Wrong Date, also 5 out of 5 stars. It says, if tonight's all I get, then I better make it good. Pop sensation Olivia would do anything to get out from under her mother's thumb and escape the circus that has become her life, if only for a moment. Maybe that's why she says yes to a night with a sexy hockey player who manages to make her dizzy with a single look. Superstar goalie Walker Disney Davis might be every girl's Prince Charming, but behind the pretty boy exterior is a man who will do whatever it takes to get what he wants, even if it means crossing a few lines. Walker Fixation should have Olivia running for the hills. He's everywhere she goes, and he keeps saying that she's the one. Despite the insanity, each of their exchanges leaves her falling harder. Wanting Walker might not be right, but it's dangerously, deliciously wrong. So, fucking wrong date. Steamy hot romance. If you like a pregnancy trope, I think this is it for you. I think that's what you call it, but yeah. And then my favorite out of the whole entire series, The Fucking Wrong Man by C.R. Jane. Again, 5 out of 5 stars. And so, seasoned hockey player Camden Hero James has a compulsive need to help women in distress, and Anastasia Lennox is no exception. From the moment he sees her dance, he's determined to save her and have her. Even though she's hell-bent on keeping him at arm's length, "You're hurting my feelings, baby girl. It seems like you don't want to be my friend." Anastasia is sure why gorgeous, famous NHL star wants anything to do with a damaged ballerina who can barely make ends meet. They're clearly from two different worlds. When she suddenly has nowhere to live, she grabs the lifeline Camden throws her with both hands. Anastasia's new roommate obsessive behavior should raise red flags. Instead, Camden's intense focus makes her feel safe, despite the fact that life has taught her not to trust anyone. She finds herself falling hard, letting down her guard. Camden wants to give Anastasia everything. Maybe this time the wrong man is offering her exactly what she needs. So yeah. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I read the excerpt. That's what the book is about, but once you read it, it's so good. Like, honestly, this whole series is my favorite series out of the whole entire year, and I don't see C.R. Jane being talked more on Book Talk or whatever, but I highly recommend the series. The 5th book comes out next, I think, March, so I'm super excited for that. When I was reading the series, The Fucking Wrong Man actually was coming out October 29th, and I knew that Barnes & Noble sometimes like releases this book a little bit early, so like I was a stalker. I kept going into Barnes & Noble like the middle of like October, hoping that I would find this book, and I did. I found this book, I think it was like October 17th or 19th or something like that, and like I devoured it right after I got it. Like, I was so lucky. So I'm hoping to do the same for the 5th book, actually. I'm hoping to get it like maybe mid-March instead of the end of March. Fingers crossed if I just like go into Barnes & Noble and like just like creep around. So yeah. If you like dark, steamy, hockey player romance, this is the series for you. These are my babies. Okay. Enough of that. Moving on. The next book I got, I was in a slump after reading the whole entire series by C.R. Jane. So the next book that I got, again, 5 out of 5 stars for every single one of those books. But anyway, the next book I picked up was A Not So Meat Cute by Megan Quinn. I'll just read the back and I'll tell you guys what I think about it. But how did you two meet? It's a quintessential question asked to every couple, and the answer is usually some bubbly, lovey-dovey tale being struck in the bum by Cupid's arrow. But Lottie Gardner's meet cute was a little bit different. She was trolling a wealthy neighborhood in Beverly Hills, searching for someone to take her as his bride. To make the arch nemesis who just fired her jealous. And billionaire Huxley Kane was conveniently stomping around the block like some sort of gorgeous ogre, mumbling about a business deal gone wrong. And when they bumped into each other, no sparks, no fireworks, not even the first seed of blossoming love. But the next thing Lottie knows, she's scarfing down chips and guac, listening to Huxley lay out his problems, and he tells her he lied to a crucial client and he needs a huge favor, a fake fiance. He's living in his mansion together, going on intimate double dates and pretending they're head over heels in love and engaged. It's ridiculous, but people do ridiculous things when they're desperate, and Lottie and Huxley both reek of desperation, so she strikes up the deal. Except her one mistake might be accidentally falling for the incomparable, insufferable Huxley Kane. So, this book, I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. What did I give it? 4 out of 5 stars. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Overall, it's a nice steamy romance book. I love the writing of Megan Quinn, and another fun thing that I really love is that in the book, as you're reading, you see, like, there's, like, drawings, like, or not drawings, like, there are images, like, while you're reading. So it's, like, not a picture book for adults, but, like, as you're going, you see, like, a couple of these ones throughout. So it's really, really nice. I really like that. Overall, the story, the trope, 5 out of 5. But the reason why I gave it 4 out of 5 stars was that the Lottie, the main female lead, she was a little bit, I found her a little bit unsufferable at times. I found her a little bit annoying, because I'm like, there were times where she, like, her attitude in the book, and I was just like, I don't like you. But, like, overall, like, the story of it, I find very, very cute. I like it. I like following it. I gobbled the trope up. I love Megan Quinn's writing. It's just a very fast-paced book, but I think, like, the female lead, she just wasn't doing it for me. She gets better at the end, but yeah. So overall, I really, really liked this. It was just like, I didn't really like the female lead too much in the beginning. It changed over time, but yeah. So this is actually part of a series. The next book is a long time coming, and the third book is also So Not Meant to Be. I have those 2 books up there on my bookshelf, so hopefully I'll get to it soon. I did like it, so yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. Yeah. Fake dating, billionaire trope. Read that book. And Also Me Cute by Megan Quinn. Okay. And so the last 2 books that I read in the month of October was 2 books by Lynn Painter. So I actually started The Love Wager first, got through it midway, and then I realized that Mr. Wrong Number, like, this is like a series. Like, this was the first book, and this was the second book. You don't really have to read them, like, in a series to understand what's going on. Like, you can, like, they're individual, but, like, the characters in The Love Wager, like, not the main character, but, like, the side characters were from, like, the Mr. Wrong Number. So I read half of The Love Wager, and then went back, read the Mr. Wrong Number, and then finished The Love Wager. So, an interesting thought here from me. When I started reading The Love Wager, the first thing I was thinking about was about Lynn's Painter writing, because everybody raves about Lynn's Painter writing. And while I was reading this book, it was very easy to read, very easy to go through. But then I realized that this was done in third person, because it was like, she did this, he did that, right? That's third person, right? And I was fine with it. But then I read halfway through that book, and then I went to Mr. Wrong Number, and then when I was reading this wasn't in third person, this was in first person. There's a lot of, like, there's like yeah, so, like, I like the style of the writing in here by Lynn Painter more, because it was, like, first person versus third person. I don't really like third person too much, but overall, while I was reading Love Wager, I really liked it, and then I read Mr. Wrong Number, and I realized Love Wager does not match Mr. Wrong Number. So Mr. Wrong Number, I think in my Goodreads I gave it a 4 stars, and Love Wager a 3 star. But looking back, like, thinking about it now, like, this is like between like a 4 and a 5 star for me, like Mr. Wrong Number. This is like this one. Okay, so in Mr. Wrong Number, we follow Olivia and Colin Beck. So I'll just read the excerpt again. Bad luck has always followed Olivia Marshall, or maybe she's just the screw-up her family believes she is. But when a "what are you wearing" text from a random number turns into the hottest, most entertaining by anonymous relationship of her life, she thinks things might be on the upswing. Colin Beck has always considered Olivia his best friend's annoying little sister, but when she moves in with them after one of her worst runs of luck, he realizes she's become an altogether different and sexier distraction. He's sure he can keep his distance until the moment he discovers she's the irresistible Miss Style he's been sort of sexting for weeks, and now he has to decide whether to turn up the heat or ghost her before things get messy. So Olivia in this book, she's unemployed. She doesn't have a home because of an accident with her previous apartment, and then she has to move in with her brother for like a month or so. And her brother, Jack, has a roommate who's Colin. And so she goes in and, like, stays in, I guess, like, the workroom or whatnot. And there, like, the story goes on, like, Miss Style and Mr. Wrong Number. Mr. Wrong Number is Colin, Miss Style is Olivia, and they start texting each other without knowing who's the other person at first because they're strangers. And then you just kind of follow the story between them and how their relationship grows. So overall, love this book. I say 4.5 stars and whatnot. Very, very quick. Lynn Painter's writing is phenomenal in this. I loved it. And then, so in Love Wager, we now follow Olivia's brother Jack and Hallie. And so Hallie, she's like turning over a new leaf. She's deciding it's time to become a full-on adult. She gets a new haircut, a new apartment, and a new wardrobe. But she logs onto a dating app, and she was determined to find her new love. And she sees none other than Jack Marshall, the guy whose room she snuck out of. They had a one-night stand. She met Jack at Jack's wedding. She met Jack at Olivia's wedding. She was like a worker there, and Jack was like the one attending. And so I think she was a barista. And so they hooked up that one night, and she left the room. Later on, she's on the dating app, and she finds Jack, who is a guy that she hooked up with. They message, they get together, and they make a wager to see who falls or finds the love of their life first on the dating app. So you follow Jack and Hallie on their relationship. And again, I gave this a 3-star because yes, it was a really good book, but I don't know, after reading, like when I first started this book, I really, really liked it, but then after reading Mr. Wrong Number, the Love Wager just didn't do it for me. It just didn't compare. The writing in third person and everything, it just wasn't for me actually. So I don't know, this is 3 to 4 stars for Love Wager and 4 to 5 stars for Mr. Wrong Number. So this is all the books that I read between the month of September and October. So I didn't even count how many books I read yet. I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wow, 10 books. Okay, not a lot. I see a lot of booktubers and book talkers reading like 20 books a month, or I don't even know, but your girl has a job, 9 to 5. I'm not a fast reader. You know, there's life. I feel like I tend to read when I'm like just sad. I don't know. I feel like I tend to read when like my brain is just like fogged up and I just need to escape the real world for a bit. And so, to be honest, I feel like when there's a month where I get to read only a couple books, I take that as either I was really stressed or I had a really good month where I went out into the world and did stuff. But on months where I'm busy, no, months where I'm sad or I'm sick, I tend to read more books. So in the month of October, I read 8 books because I only read 2 in September. In October, I read 8 books, and that's just mainly because I was sick with a cold, and Sierra Jane just did it for me. I devoured her whole entire 4 books. So yeah, these are my reading wrap-ups up of this month. A lot of 4 stars, a lot of 5 stars. All of these, honestly, really, really good. I'd say my least favorite was Love Wager, unfortunately, but still good. I would still recommend every single one of these books, because if you were to read the first book, Mr. Wrong Number, I still would recommend to read Love Wager. Again, yeah. These are my reading wrap-up, and I hope to see you guys hopefully again next month for November's wrap-up, or I might just combine it with November and December. So yeah, I also hope to do a bookshelf tour soon, so stay tuned for that. And thanks for watching this video, and talk to you soon. Bye!